Noemi, I am so happy to have you here.
Pascal, thank you for inviting me. It's such an honor to be here on your show. Thank you so much.
Honestly, we've had one other conversation, just for listeners' perspective. And I don't know exactly how you felt, but for me, I felt like we connected immediately. I felt like our energies were attuned to the same vibration. It was just such an easy connection. And I knew that you are a perfect fit to have on the show.
Thank you. I felt the same way. Feelings are mutual. I really felt your positive vibe and your energy, and also listened to a few episodes of yours, and I love those. So you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much. This is season 5, and I feel like since the beginning, it's just been refinement, refinement, refinement. And who knows, one day maybe I'll have someone who just takes care of everything for me, and I can just only worry about having these amazing conversations.
Yes, that's the plan.
That's the plan. It's now in the universe.
Exactly.
So let's talk about you. My listeners know about me, and I want them to get to know more about you because it's all about this month awakening your inner power. And in that vein, I want to talk about what you do that is so very important, and that is use art for healing for so many different things. So, first of all, can we talk a little bit about your background and how you arrived at this place where art is so healing?
Yes, of course. I would love to share my story. So I was born and raised in Hungary in Central Europe, and I came from a small town in the middle of nowhere from Hungary, basically. But I was always an artsy type. I was an only child, so I loved drawing, painting, jewelry making, anything, you name it. I always was a creative type, and I just loved creating something new, something exciting. And I didn't become an artist as work as a job, but I actually studied. I have a master's degree in Scandinavian linguistics, so I speak Danish, Swedish. I traveled in different countries. I was an exchange student. I was an exchange student in Denmark, so that's how I learned the language. So languages, art, they are very, very close to my heart. I think the biggest milestone in my life was when I was expecting my son. He's 12 now, so almost 13. So that was like almost 13 years ago. And I just sat down and something just came to me from the universe. It's like, I need to make a collage. And I didn't know how did that happen. I sat down and I just made a mixed media collage, uh, using buttons, textiles, different wordings from different magazines. It was just so much fun. And that was the time when I decided, okay, I'm going to become a collage artist. I'm not trained, I'm not a trained artist, I'm a self-taught artist. But since then, I just can't stop making collages because that's my passion. That brings me joy. And I would just keep doing them. I became part of a couple of artist groups and traveled a bit in Europe, had these artist get-togethers in different parts. I made installations here locally in Cyprus, had a few group exhibitions, so it was so much fun until the pandemic happened. Of
I
course,
call
it's
that
like
the P word for anybody who doesn't know that yet. That's the P word.
yes, the P word just happened, and basically from one day to another, I lost my business, our business. We had an online travel related business since 2007 up till 2020. In 2019, I also lost my dad to cancer and my grandma to an accident. So it was a lot going on. And so that's how it happened that in 2020, when we were in lockdown, the whole world stopped and I stopped watching news and I just started to create collages again because I struggled with grief, with anxiety, with trauma. So I had to deal with it in a healthy way. So I turned back to what I knew it was working for me, and that was art. Because art always helped me to relax, to reduce stress, to become calmer. So that's what I started to do back in 2020. Yes, that was part of what I was doing. And then later on, I knew that if I could help myself, I can help other people as well. So I completed a few courses on positive psychology, art therapy, color therapy. I'm still, I'm a lifelong learner, so I love learning new things. So I'm doing other courses too. So for me, it's kind of part of my life. And now I am on podcasts and talking about how art can help to heal us. So that's
I
my
love
story,
that
story in a
so
nutshell.
much. It's a, everybody thinks that you go to school and you finish with school and then it's a straight line until you retire, you stop working, you die, whatever. And it's not. It's your path looks like this.
Yes.
And that's okay. If you can release the expectation that it's just going to be a straight path, you can just enjoy it. You can enjoy the journey.
So true. Very true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, first of all, I want to point out a few things that really stood out for me is that you don't know where the thought came from to create a collage. You had an inspired thought and you took action on that inspired thought. And there's a book that I recently read called Don't Believe Everything You Think. And
Mm.
it talks a lot about that when you have that inspired thought, that divine thought that seems to come from nowhere, just take action on it. Don't sit and think, because once you think, now you're in the physical mind and you don't have that divine connection, that inspired thought connection.
Yes. And probably because I was expecting. So I was obviously more emotional and just feeling different things than I usually do. And it just happened.
And pregnancy just opens us up to so much more.
Yes. So
It
true.
really does. And, I also want to pull out something. Oh, and I wanted to say about the inspired thought is that you had the inspired thought, you took action, and look at where it brought you, right? So sorry. My phone is usually on silent. That is wicked embarrassing because that's never happened before. Um, there's a first for everything. I'm not editing that out. That's real life, isn't it?
Exactly. Things happen.
Um, yeah, so your inspired thought brought you to this beautiful place where you share your art with other people. It's healing for you. You're teaching others how to heal through art. And it's just so beautiful. The other thing I want to point out is that you said you stopped watching the news.
Yes.
I feel like the news used to be 3 to 4 different, at least here in the United States, 3 to 4 different news channels. It was 12 to 14 hours a day, and then it cut off. And then the internet came.
Yes.
Enter 24/7 media, enter news that wasn't just reporting, but now it's all about opinions and
Mm.
skewed perspectives and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And the anxiety that comes with that, the division in the
Mm.
world that comes with that, the divisiveness, so much hatred, so much anger. And if we think about all of those feelings that come from watching the news, those are very low vibrational feelings.
Yes. So true.
They're not
Absolutely.
healing.
No, not at all. And that happened during the pandemic, P word, because everything was, yeah, the word was so divided again during that time too. And I just couldn't cope with it. So I had a routine. I had this sacred time. I went into my bedroom and I was in my bed and because I'm making mixed media collages and I'm sewing basically my memories on canvas. So I can do that in bed. So that works. It's not messy or anything. And I put on my headphone and I was listening to music, podcasts, or audiobooks, mostly audiobooks and mostly fiction. So I can get away from the world. So I was kind of in my own healing bubble, we can call that. And that was my me time, my self-care time, because online schooling was in full swing. It was really nerve-wracking. And then my poor mom stuck here in Cyprus with us because there was no in and outgoing flights from the island. So it was a lot going on in the family with it too. So that was my sacred time. And I think kind of, I kept my sanity during that time because I could just focus on myself, my art, and some fiction. And it was amazing. And I felt after a couple of months, weeks, that I am healing. I feel so much better now. And that's why I noticed it's like, okay, so I need to tell this to people because many people think that you need to be an artist in order to create art, and you don't. If you just doodle, if you knit, crochet, cook, sing, dance, drum. I love drumming too. So you can do anything. And once it helps you to relax and reduce stress, you don't need to be an artist in order to do that.
I think we're all an artist. I think
Yes.
we're creators innately, and we're here to create. And so I think a lot of people don't feel like they're an artist because we feel like if we're going to create something, it has to be perfect. It has to be beautiful. It has to
Mm.
be something that, other people would look to and ooh and ah. And it's not that at all. I mean, if you're feeling just grief and anxiety and you've been through a trauma, I might imagine that some of your art isn't necessarily what we would think is classically beautiful.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I clearly remember because when my dad was in transition and I was with the family, I was at home in Hungary, and it was a hard time. And I still kept taking photographs outside in our garden. And I was with him and I was making digital collages just on my computer, but I was next to him, near him. And those collages were very dark. So I showed it to my friends and they looked at me like, okay, this is bad. This is very bad. But it was still a safe space to express all these deep, dark, and very painful emotions and not, turning to drugs or alcohol or something that is not it's not helping. But I turn to art because it's no matter how disturbing your art, it's still a safe space and you're not swiping your emotions and negative energies under a carpet, but you express them feeling freely through art, and that really, really helps. So yes, they were dark, and it was tough. Even looking back at them, it was tough to look at them. But that's part of me. I needed to pass this grief flow through me, through my soul and body. It was really important to process it that way.
Yeah. And that is really what it's all about for you. And what you really teach people to do is process it. Because if we hold it inside, that's when we create disease, right?
Yes.
Disease is disease
Yeah.
that we can't move through our body. So it's so very important to be able to, no matter how you do it, through exercise, through art, through, I don't know, go to one of those rooms where you can just break things, but you need to process you in order to heal. And thank you for pointing that out, that you really do have to move that energy.
Yes.
Yeah. And something else that really stands out when you're talking about that is I'm picturing your collages through that time of grief, through your
Mm.
dad's passing, and they were dark. And it's almost like you can chronologically, it's a chronological journal of your life through art. And you can see, oh, this is how I was feeling. And look, just 5 years later, look at what my art looks like now. Look how much I've healed. And so that's something else I think we don't pay enough attention to is, you know, for me, my first go to would be journaling, but
Mm-hmm.
journal through the trauma, journal through the experience, and then journal on the other side. So you really can be your own witness to how far you've come. And I love that about you taking photographs and then creating collages for that purpose.
Yes, and also I think it's a great medium to use like art journals because for me I like journaling, but I need to be more creative. I need colors, I need pictures, I need something more than just writing things down. So that's why I started art journaling, and that's why I tell people to start art journaling because it's basically a form of journal, but you can use colors, crayons, you can use colored pencils, pictures from magazines, anything. or just you just draw or paint into your journal. And it's just so amazing that with the help of art, you can still express whatever you feel, and have them, again, process things. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did just touch on for a moment that a lot of people, I think about women because I'm women finding clarity, but so a lot of women do not feel creative. So, what advice do you have for someone who wants to explore art as a form of self expression, but they don't really know where to start?
There are always different communities, like art communities, that you can join. For me personally, I always love doing things by myself. I'm a Scorpio, so I like my space and being alone. But if you don't know where to start, there are always great communities, online communities or in-person communities. Check it out online or find a local community where you can belong, and because you can share your pain, you can share these memories with other people, and they are not artists either, so you don't have to be embarrassed about it. You just have to start somewhere, and my motto in life is just keep going. So whatever you start, just keep going. It's so important. Stick to it. Try to be consistent with it, because once you do something for 21 days, then it will become a habit. So if you just doodle something, for 21 days, then it kind of becomes part of you. Or it's just so important to stick to things and join a community where they can support you and they are in the same boat as you, and everyone will understand you, what you're going through.
Yeah, that's really great advice because I think, especially when we're trying something new, that perfectionism kicks in and that worthiness of, I'm not good enough. Who am I to be here? I'm not an artist. We're all artists, we're all
Yes.
creators, and we all have to start somewhere.
Yes, so very true. Yeah, absolutely. And we are all artists, as you said, exactly. The moment that we were born, it's basically society and the school system that basically, like, quote unquote, kills this whole creativity from our body, because they can laugh at you. They say your apple that you draw, your art lesson is not perfect or something like
Yeah.
that. And these bad negative memories stored in your system, and you just can't get rid of them, and you feel ridiculous. You feel like, oh, I feel like a child, but you're not. We are all artists. We are all born artists.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the best things we can do is get rid of coloring in the lines
Yes.
and bring in just expression.
Yeah. Yes.
So you have a background in color therapy. So let's talk about that. What is color therapy?
The help of colors basically is the same as art therapy, but you use colors to express different emotions. And especially in your space, if you're in office space, if you're in your bedroom, you can use specific colors to help to, raise your energy, to help become calmer. Because obviously, if you paint your bedroom all red, that won't be a calm space. So you always have to pick really carefully what to do and how to do it. Like you using muted colors, like muted green or muted blue, for example, for your bedroom. It's a perfect colors to feel relaxed after a long day of work. Or office space, it's usually just a natural color. Like you can go for something nice but very calm, because there's a lot going on in our life and in our work, so there's something calm us down. So there are specific colors, for example, for each space, where you can just feel better just looking at something. And I also learned that you can use color meditation. There are specific colors that when you look at them for, let's say, 10 minutes, like something, it's beautiful, because I try this, and there is music, there's a background music, and you're looking at the colors. And then you just close your eyes, like after 5 minutes. It's a 10-minute meditation. For the first 5 minutes, you just look at the colors, listen to the music, then you close your eyes, and then you visualize the color for the rest of the meditation. And it's just pure relaxation, and it's amazing how you feel afterwards. Just basically looking at different colors.
So interesting. Now, does color therapy relate to, do you use it related to different energy centers in your body, different chakras, or do you use it more outwardly?
I would say at this stage I use it more outwardly, but I'm doing more, studies on those two about the chakras and how they reflect the different colors and how they affect us. And it's yeah, I think we can learn about that like for 10, 20 years to really understand everything. So yes,
Yeah.
I'm getting there too. Absolutely. It's really fascinating and I really enjoy that.
Well, see, and the reason I ask about that is because as you're speaking, I don't really talk as much about the outwardness of color, but I do talk about to my clients on the podcast about the different colors of the chakra. And
Yes.
so when I used to teach mindfulness and meditation for kids, this is what you were making me think of. One of the meditations we would do is if we were talking about your root chakra, for
Hmm.
example, that's your safety, your security,
Yeah.
and the color is red. So
Hmm.
during the meditation, I would have them close their eyes, picture a red crayon, and then picture themselves drawing a
Yeah.
red circle and coloring in the red circle. And that's what it reminded me of. So that for me is a great reminder of, in art and in my outward world, really lean into what I'm feeling and where I'm feeling it. So
Yes.
my bedroom is navy blue and white, for example.
Yeah.
And now I want to go paint it because that doesn't feel relaxing. And
Mm,
I couldn't figure out why. Like, why don't I feel relaxed in my room? Why doesn't it feel tidy? Why doesn't it feel calming?
yeah.
That's why it's navy
That's
blue.
why it's navy blue. Yeah, maybe something like a little bit calmer, something like greenish vibes, muted green. It's really relaxing. It's no wonder why if you are in waiting rooms and hospitals and everything, or if you go to the doctor, it's always something to do with green. Although, like it's again those memories. For me, I almost lost my life during pregnancy. So for me, it's thinking about those green colors. It always comes back to me with the doctor scrub before my operation and everything. So for me, it's like I can't use that color really in my space because it always reminds me something that I haven't processed, completely in my life, that kind of trauma. So yeah, and you have to be careful because yeah, we can tell you that like yeah, use those colors, but if they don't align with you, don't. I mean, you feel that in your body that if it's something works or it doesn't work.
Yeah. So that's a really great thing that you just brought up, using your memories as
Mm.
artistic expression. So your art is very much inspired by memories, inspired by nostalgia. How do you feel, or how do you teach women to use their creativity to honor their past while also at the same time stepping into the future?
That's a brilliant question, Pascal. Yes, it's really important to basically think about or honor our heritage or honor our past because if we forget about it, then what's going on with the future? So it's not like we're living in the past, but we still have to know about it and honor that. So for me personally, I came from Hungary and I left the country 20 years ago in my early 20s. So that was many, many moons ago. But still, the Hungarian culture, the Hungarian heritage is in my blood. And I can't really express it in other ways. So that's why, and again, this was just something that came to me from the universe to started to make these collages, these hand-sewn collages on canvas, and they're very purely inspired by Hungarian folk art. And I don't know where did that come from. Obviously, because of my heritage, because of my past, and like maybe deep down, I miss my native, like home country, my language. So that's how I expressed that kind of sadness, or as you said, nostalgia about my past. But that doesn't mean I live in the past because I also make collages based on my previous trips that I really enjoyed. I traveled a lot in Europe and went to Spain and Morocco. That's not in Europe, Africa, whatever. It was a bad example, but in different places. And I always incorporate them into my art because they bring me joy. Even the nostalgia, my memories, they bring me joy when I look at them. Those were good times that I can look back. So don't have to forget about our past, but we have to keep our future in mind. And because that's also important to look ahead and to see, but keep both of them at the same space, just trying to find a harmony, a nice balance between the two, between the past and the future.
Yeah. Well said. And, I used to be a big scrapbooker when my kids were
Oh.
younger, and I carried my big clunky camera around and I took pictures of everything. I would have thousands of pictures. And I think just what you said of keeping maybe, while you're honoring the past and you're honoring the moment, keeping also an eye into the future, because I knew I wanted to capture those memories. And so I knew I wanted to take them places like our library has this little thing called Barnyard Babies, and they bring in these baby animals. And the bunnies, for example, they wrap them up in baby blankets and the kids can hold them. And I mean, I wanted them to have that experience. And I knew that's something I want to capture and put in their scrapbook. Right.
Yes.
So I think on a more simplistic level for people who don't create beautiful collages and things, similarly, scrapbooking can do that too. And you keep an eye on the future, like, oh, I want to take a trip to this country. What am I going to do with that?
Yes, yes. Scrapbooking is a perfect expression, and there are so many tools and different accessories or whatever, like scrapbooking accessories you can buy now.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing what you can do with it, and exactly, and even you can manifest things because you can make scrapbooks that are in the future. So you can manifest your trips, or you can manifest your dream home, and not just only a vision board or but on basically you can do that in a scrapbook too about manifestation.
Yeah. Oh, really good point. Really good point. Um, okay. So earlier you said that back during the P word, you created this sacred time for yourself that you'd go in your bed, put on your music, do your art. Is that something that you've always done, was create sacred time for things, or was this new for you?
It was completely new for me because I'm an entrepreneur. So I became an entrepreneur in 2007 in my late 20s. So it was always all about work, work, work. And especially when you're starting a new business, it's hard. I mean, you work a lot, you wear too many hats, you are a solopreneur, you're working too many hours. I've been working remotely since 2007. So it's kind of like a lonely life, and you need to socialize. You need to have a life outside of that space. So for me, it was a new thing. And I just felt that I needed to do it. I didn't know, I didn't learn it anywhere. It's like, okay, I have to do this because this is self-care, this is self-love. I have to practice this. It was completely and utterly on a subconscious level. I didn't know anything about it. I just felt the need of it. And then I realized like this is good. This helps me. And then after my dad passed away and I had to, deal with grief and anxiety, panic attacks, and so on. There was a lot going on. And I realized that I don't move my body enough. I just sit a lot because I, work in front of my computer for long hours. Yes, here too.
I'm
Same
raising my
here.
hand.
So I just decided, okay, I need to exercise, and I never liked going to gym. So I'm not that kind of gym bunny woman who goes there, and I just feel no, this is not for me. I'm Scorpio. I don't do things like that. So, but I decided to say, let's check a couple of YouTube videos and start to exercise, doing weights and weight training, and then from one day to another, I just decided I need to walk because we lived in Ireland before Cyprus, and I walked a lot by the Irish Sea. It was a beautiful place where we lived, and somehow I just completely missed that part of me that like I like walking actually. So I started to pick up walking again about like 2 years ago, and I became a walker. So now I walk every day. Not huge, distances, but it also helps me. Again, it's a form of meditation for me, and it really really reduced it. Like just before our interview I went for a 1 hour walk. So it felt so good for my body. So I started to exercise, I started to walk, and then I also started to buy drums. And those things, because I always wanted to drum when I was a kid, but I never had the opportunity to do that. And now I have a djembe drum, a frame drum, a handpan. And once you start buying drums, the shop assistant told me at the drum shop, it's like you're going to be addicted to it. So I'm kind of at that stage. So I have all these drums, and every morning I have this sacred time. So I drum for 5 minutes, but I also meditate for about 10 minutes. I also read from one of my favorite books, like, that I usually pick. I'm also part of different book clubs. And I do this, like, that's my sacred time every morning. Meditation, the first reading, meditation, exercise, drumming. So yes, and then I started with that with art, then I started to do it like everywhere in my life. And it was kind of a life-changing experience for me, because it opened my eyes that I need to look after myself, because nobody will do that for me. And I can't help my family, I can't help my child if I'm just an always stressed, always tired entrepreneur. And so I knew deep down that I had to do this. I didn't have a coach, or I didn't have a therapist back then, but I knew it. I felt it, that like, this is what I need to do.
Yeah. That's a really great reminder to just kind of listen to your own intuition and, just do it. Just do
Yeah.
what your intuition is telling you to do. And, on the topic of intuition, because I love all of that so much, how do you think that women can use their art practice to connect their intuition and their inner wisdom into their life?
The all these emotions that we can express, and that they're buried deep down, because we can have relationship problems, we can have problem with our family, or we can be sick, or it can anything happen in our life. But once you have something, when you have a safe space where you can express it, it is life changing, because it was life changing for me. And as I said, it can be cooking, or it can be singing, it can be anything. But just listen to your body, listen to your soul, listen to whatever your body tells you to do, because it never lies. You just have to listen. You just have to be conscious about it, because there's so many disruption in the world. We can, doom scroll on social media like for hours, or watching crazy TikTok, videos or whatever, or YouTube shorts. And I've been there, I've done that, I'm guilty as charged. But then you realize that these are just distractions from something that is not so important in our life. What we need is we need to be seen, heard, and understood better in order to express ourselves. And with the help of art, that can really help us to be in that safe space and in that intuitive space where you can just be yourself.
You're such a beautiful example of getting up in the morning, not picking up that distraction that's your phone and scrolling. And I know we
I
all do
wouldn't
it.
say, I mean, like, we do it. Like, I'm not a saint or something. I do that too for a little bit,
Yeah,
but then I just put it away. I don't care. So,
that's right. But you've created I'll call it a spiritual practice, this sacred time that you've given to yourself in the morning to be creative, to reflect, to think forwardly about your day, all of that. And that completely sets the tone for your whole day versus watching the news, scrolling on TikTok, scrolling through Instagram. Of course, some of that is uplifting. Your Instagram page is beautiful
thank you.
and the energy is so high vibe there. I would love for everybody to go and follow you on Instagram, and the link is in show notes, because your page is truly it's just high energy and I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you're just such a great example. And I know for myself that I've been wanting to create more of a sacred time in the morning and, have my coffee or have my tea and journal and, maybe paint a little or whatever it is. And I'll do it for a couple of days and then I stop.
Mm.
And so you're saying do it for 21 days. Make
At
yourself
least
do it.
21 days. Yeah, just keep going. If I had a tattoo, which I don't have, but I always wanted one, just keep going on my body somewhere, because that's just really it's about like just doing something for 21 days, and then it will become a habit.
Yeah.
And it will be amazing because you can't really live without it. It becomes part of you. It's like I don't, for example, it's the same about diets or mindful eating or healthy eating. I'm not an expert by any means, but what I realized that I just started to stop eating things that are junk food and just replace them with things that I actually like, but they are healthier. And I'm not on diet or I'm not doing anything differently. I'm just making better choices and practicing like mindful eating. So it's all about choices, all about decisions, and then just, keep doing them, being consistent with them. And that's it, basically. There's no any magic solutions in health or eating or anything like that. You just keep doing them, just keep practicing them for a while, and then will become part of you.
I think you really said something that's important that's worth repeating is that just keep making the choice. Because every time let's talk about eating, every time you go to your refrigerator, you have a choice. Every time you go to the store, you have a choice. When you get
Yeah,
up in the morning, you have a choice. And so rather than feel bogged down by the heaviness of new habits or what, just look at it as a choice.
yeah.
What are you going to choose to do today that's going to move you one step forward toward reaching your goal or your vision, whatever it is?
So very true. I agree
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Excuse me. So, how do you personally stay in a creative flow? What rituals or practices do you have that help you stay inspired, that help you keep your creativity moving?
I'm an I'm an addict. I'm addicted to courses. So I have a group of friends and we are also like kind of like course addicts. So I always love learning new things. So if something inspires me, like my next thing is to do like shamanic art therapy, and that's again that's something different too. So it always inspires me, so I just want to keep learning new things, and those new things always inspire me. That's one thing. The other thing is traveling or meeting new people. I mean, I live in a place where basically the world comes to us because it's a very touristy place. Like Cyprus is, I don't know, during the summer, we have like 10 times more people visiting the small island. So it's very, very multicultural. So wherever you walk in the street, like every second person speak a different language. So for me, is living in a different culture, learning new languages is also kind of, I'm staying creative, like your mind, left brain, right brain. So I'm learning like, I don't know, Spanish, Greek. I picked up like Gaelic, Irish, and also Navajo, like don't ask me. I always was, I'm fascinated by Native American culture since I was a little girl. And because there are not many people speak it anymore, so I just want to be those, just support them. So because I'm a linguist by trade, so I'm kind of nerdy about that. So these things like learning new things always keep my mind and body like just stay creative. And of course, creating art, creating more art. I would love to spend even more time on it, but because I'm also an entrepreneur, it's not so easy sometimes to carve out time for art making, but I'm making choices, especially during the weekend, to spend time with it a few hours when I just focus on creating collages. I always have something in my closet, like half-made collage that I'm working on. I have a new project as well, so but it's a big one, so it takes time.
I love that. But it does take time, but you're doing it little by little. And so you
Yes,
can watch the evolution of the thing. And it's
yes.
amazing. And, towards the end, it's going to look very different than your initial vision because as you're growing and learning and moving through life, it just kind of morphs a little bit and becomes something completely new. And that's amazing.
Absolutely. And it's all about a journey because once I finish a piece, I'm kind of sad because I would love to add more things to the collage, but I don't want to because less is more. So but then the journey is so important. And that's why I tell people that, like, once you create something, enjoy the journey, immerse yourself in the journey, because that's the most beautiful part when you're creating something. And you don't have to show it to anyone once it's ready, because it doesn't matter how it looks like, as long as you enjoy the journey, because that's the healing part.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember to go back and look at it sometimes,
Yeah.
because it will take you right back there. And you can, again, especially through healing, you can see just how far you've come.
So true. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
Noemi, I want to talk to you forever and I want to be respectful of your time. So, as people are wanting to get to know you more, learn about you, connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
You can always visit my Instagram page. If you type my name in, Noemi Beres, you can find it in the show notes too. So, and you will find me there. And also LinkedIn, same again. There's a little microphone sign next to my name, Noemi Beres, and you can find me. And I also have a web page, noemiberes.com. You can see mostly my cut and paste collage, digital collages there. That's my artist page.
Beautiful. All of that is in show notes. You're a beautiful light in this world. You're very healing. You're energetically just a beautiful soul. So it's
Thank
my
you.
honor to have you here. I can't wait till we speak again and keep doing the beautiful work that you're doing.
Thank you, Pascal. It was an honor. Thank you so much.